This is our second town hall. We started last week in Newtown at the community center, and we had a wonderful time. And we have come to number 7, in the heart of number 7, inner city Molineaux, for our second town hall meeting. And I want to say a hearty thank you to all of you who have come out tonight. Give yourselves a round of applause. Next week, Tuesday, we shall be in Sandy Point, St. Christopher number 5, and the series continues thereafter. We have come because we do care about what is happening to you, the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And we have come because we want to have a healthy conversation about how we can do even better for you, for your families, and for all the communities in St. Kitts and Nevis. The world is watching what is happening in St. Kitts and Nevis. And it is as if they are not looking anywhere else. For you not hear them talking about Anguilla and Dominica and Antigua and Jamaica. Everything now in the news is about St. Kitts and Nevis. And thank God, because you have the right government for the right time, doing the right things for you. The news is always good and positive about St. Kitts and Nevis. We have the top hotel now, they tell us, in the entire world, in the Park Hyatt at Christopher Harbour, St. Kitts, thanks to a team unity government. We are going to be getting, in a couple of months, to have the final sign-off in relation to the Ritz-Carlton Hotel, a top-of-the-line hotel facility, thanks to Team Unity Government. And you may marvel, because on Saturday last, on the Inside the News, one of the panelists made a very powerful point, but so simple a point it was, that many people didn't catch it, the significance of it, the substance of it. Because here they were on Win FM radio, making a comparison about the performance of the bygone administration that was with us for 20 long years. May they now rest in peace. And they are comparing 20 years that have gone to 3 years of Team Unity. By the very nature of the arithmetic, 10 to 1 is murder, 20 to 3 shouldn't be able to happen. But when you listen to the performance of the Team Unity administration over the last 3 years, you wonder what Douglas was doing in government for 20 long years. And every time the member of the panel makes the point, look at how we have transformed healthcare for the better. Some one of them, whose time will never come, a political one to be, would say, well, Labour was going doing too. After 20 years, they still remain a party that was to do. Team Unity is a party and movement that is doing on behalf of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. We are truly working for you. That is why after 20 years, with 2 medical doctors in the government, the sleeping Dr. Asim Martin, and Denzel Douglas, who bad since he born. 2 medical doctors. Tapping the government, they could not bring the MRI services to St. Kitts and Nevis, so that people would not have to go around begging and sponsor sheet for donation to help them take their loved ones to Trinidad, to Puerto Rico, to Antigua to get MRI services. Marcella Liebert was too busy building a public bath, her only call to fame in Central Bastia, to respond to the communication from Dr. Andy Redman. In 2016, because there was a new government committed to you, the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, understanding your needs, we then get an MRI service in St. Kitts and Nevis, and we say, to God be the glory. Put your hands together for Dr. Andy Redman, a son of the soil of Atlas Village, who is now famed and acclaimed all over the world. I had him down for the Prime Minister's Gala as a special guest speaker. He did a moving presentation about his walk through the valley and alley of poverty, his pathway from the periphery to the pinnacle of academic success in the USA, where he's now one of the top doctors, neurosurgeon in the area of his field. And year after year, he had been talking to Douglas, talking to Marcella. In fact, he offered to put the MRI at JNF Hospital. And when they were too busy doing whatever they were doing, but not the people's business, he offered us an alternative, that he would put the MRI service at Mary Charles. And when his adopted father came to me, I was then in the government, and he said, what about Mary Charles if the government too busy? I said, put it right up there. Right up there, I want it in my constituency. Right up there, I wanted it. And I go and I talk to Marcella. She said she had a couple things to do, and she will come back to me on that. Well, the couple things that Marcella had to do was to bring the mortgage documents for the development bank in the cabinet table, and she making corrections, putting her private interests ahead of public interests. Marcella Liebert, while being a minister of the government, got her law firm, Liebert and Liebert, or Liebert and Bryant, it was before. They made $4 million in legal fees from the development bank alone. Wickedness! And she was a minister of government. Minister of government. $4 million. No wonder when she comes to the cabinet, she not bringing cabinet submissions. She bringing mortgage document. Her heart was never with the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And it pains me sometimes to hear Marcella, who was such a waste of a time as the Minister of Health, get up in the Parliament and talk about JNF and talk about Mary Charles. How dare Marcella Liebert speaks about Mary Charles. When we came in 2015, the roof of Mary Charles fell in from neglect. Fell in as if a bomb had dropped in it. They had to move them out. Not a single patient for months at the hospital because they neglected it. And now these same hypocrites, joined by Joe, who should be ashamed of himself, talking and criticizing, when they know the reality that they ran down the health sector, that they had no time for it. They ran it down so bad. In Tabernacle, my hometown, we had a health center. Like how the hospital roof fell in, that nearly happened down the Tabernacle. Every area termite infested. And when pressure came, you know what they did? They closed it down. They took the health center and they, as it were, we would say in the country, they shook it in a hole. Shook it in the basement of the daycare center in Tabernacle. The area that was reserved for the rest of the children. They had to remove the bed, cramp up the space of the children in their most formative and precious years of learning to accommodate a health center that under the watch of Denzel Douglas as a medical doctor, under the watch of Asim Martin as a former Minister of Health and Minister then, they allowed that to happen. And on the wings of that, because they closed it down in 2013 late, facility moved over in 2014. Wendy, you remember? You got the dates? I having them right? I have them right so far. But look at that. In 2014, where did the Vagabond Party stand? The Vagabond Party not only had 2 ministers who were medical doctors. Around the periphery was a Dr. Jew. Around the periphery was a Dr. Wilson. Around the periphery was my good friend and villager, Dr. Gilbert. He's a nice man now. Thank you. So you had 5 doctors in the high echelons of the party. And Mary Charles Hospital was allowed to have its roof fallen in as if a bomb dropped on it. The Tabernacle Health Center was allowed to go to the dogs, forced it in the daycare facility, and compromise the learning experience of our young people. Never again must we go back to Douglas. Never again. It must be a forward, progressive march for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And that is why we are here. For in the short of 3 years, the problems of labor are being corrected. Problem child, STEAM unity solutions, labor like a problem child, team unity solutions. So they couldn't do anything to Mary Charles. Within a year and a half, we delivered a brand new expanded Mary Charles Hospital. We did that for you because we care. We did that so that if something was to happen to any one of you here, in Phillips, in Mansion, in Sadlers, in Parsons, in Keon, your first point of reference, according to the zoning of our health service, is Mary Charles. Yes. And we got it working now for you, the people of the constituency and beyond. And I want to say thank you to Senator Wendy Phipps and Eugene Hamilton, our minister. Give them both a round of applause for doing a good job. So Labour couldn't do nothing with that. Team Unity has delivered on that. The Tabernacle Health Center that they took inside the daycare center basement. Go down there now. We had the blessing of the ceremony. And the Honorable Eugene Hamilton's sister was doing the prayer. And she was doing the blessing of the building, the sprinkling of the oil. And she went from corner to corner. She said, something good is coming out of here. Let me bless it again. And she got back and she dropped a little bit more water. Couldn't get her to leave. Because good things are happening there and will happen there for the people of Mansion and Tabernacle and Bellevue and Christchurch who are served by that facility. I am trying to make the contrast. We are a government that cares. We are a government whose words and our deeds reflect to you that you can have confidence in us. Yes, it is hard work in government, but it's not 20 years. It is 3 years, man. So when some of them come with the haste and they say, they look at the manifesto and this ain't done, everything not going to be done. Gaston Brown called a general election a full year in advance. A lot of things ain't done in Antigua. If they had happened, you would have known. You would have known. For when people talk about tourism, they say, look what Lindsey Grant and the Team Unity Administration is doing for St. Kitts. The other day, Antigua government brought to an end the services of Ricky Skerrit. They say nothing now happening in Antigua tourism with Ricky Skerrit. Nothing now happened. It is here things are happening. It is here that we move the cruise statistics from just over 600,000 to 1,058,000 in 2017. Good things are happening. And even more will come. Even more will come. You see Chrissy Day and Chiffon now? Maybe he's a cruise passenger, text her, tell her, he's coming back to St. Kitts. For she's in the trade. And one thing I like Christopher, she aggressive when it come around business. Queen, what is your correct name, Queen? Queen Maneuver. Queen Maneuver. Give her a round of applause. All the tourists loves Chrissy, and they call her Queen Maneuver. I bow. But this is what we are doing. We are transforming the lives. We are transforming the landscape. And as we transform the landscape, we are doing even more fundamental a transformation. We are making our own people the stars of our development, creating opportunities which many are seizing. That is what this government is about. When we came in and they told us the bank had all this money not lending, well, we said the poor ordinary people in Molineaux and Keon and Old Road and Sandy Point, George Street, how are they going to get money if bank not lend? How are they going to get money if banker asks that you put in equity? How are you going to get money if bank asks in for 20%? And a young man said, well, this is crazy. I go into the bank to get some money, and they tell me bring back in money before I could get money. So bank is hard business, but I understand that part. And we said what we will do, we will introduce a fresh start, mortgage scheme, loan financing. We found money. To date, I think it is $50 million went to the development bank. 652 persons have benefited throughout the length of the Federation, in Nevis, in Bastia, in number 7, all around the country, in every part of St. Kitts and Nevis. Persons have benefited. Put your hands together for your Team Unity government. There are people now with restaurants because of the Fresh Start. There are people with taxis because of the Fresh Start loan program. When we were in number 1, the Honorable Deputy Prime Minister spoke to a young upcoming professional, a lawyer. What's her name again? Shani Gray. Shani Gray. She before was working at Independence Square Street. with Mr. Grant. Not Mr. Grant. Hamilton. Two of your cousins. With Mr. Hamilton. And she has now seized the opportunity for self-start. And she has branched out on her own as a lawyer. You put a shingle and she do her outside. And one thing they used to tell me growing up, which is why later I wanted to be a lawyer, but I went too late. First thing I wanted to be in life was a teacher, to give back to people. Because I had lovely teachers like Miss Monica McCall in Mansion, like Miss Petty in Mansion, like this lady, Miss Estelle, down in Atlas. The house now running down there by the hill. Teacher, Miss Estelle, I want to come back and fix up a nice upstairs house. Invite me now and again on a Sunday when I have time. But I remember then, Teacher, Miss Estelle, she had nice eyes. It was amazing what you remember about your teachers. And I wanted to go to school each day to look at Teacher Miss Estelle because she had pretty eyes. And what does it tell us too? If I could now reflect upon my own childhood odyssey and development and say something like that was important to me, teachers then can make a difference for the students. Because of the care and the love and the attention that teachers can give and must give to our students, they can make a difference in their lives. And that is why we want to ensure at Molineaux School, at Lodge School, at Tabo, in fact at all the schools, we have excellent teachers. Put our hands together for all the teachers who are working hard. So that is how we have been going, trying to elevate people like an ordinary daughter, Chrissy of Tabernacle, to now become a queen. We love that. We love to know that we have created many Natasha Grace. We love that. We love to hear that a young man who has made a claim abroad look back from the country, mindful as in the book of Deuteronomy, of the country from which we wish to return. And he decided to invest in an MRI. Well, because Alex Nisbet worked at the MRI facility for years. The MRI facility at St. Kitts Biomedical is one of the largest magnet employers for young people wanting to pursue studies in science and medicine. 10th grade children, all of them from the college, most of them would have passed through there. From Sandy Point, from all over. Sometimes I look and say, boy, people coming from all over. Where are the people from number 7 down there? Science and technology, which is rare. You want a real life experiences down there. Alex Nisbet just happened to work there, did well, moved quickly up through the ranks. And Alex, like Redman, both of them from Atlas. Why do you have to make politics about the MRI? And why Joe has to tell a big lie that Alex is my nephew? Well, tell him my father has 33 children. I know all of them. And Alex's father and Alex's mother, no relation. So come off Alex back if that's where you go on. So come off the young man back. But even if he were, and he is not a relative of mine, the question is, aren't every citizen in the land of their birth entitled to seize opportunities and make wealth for themselves and their families? Alex is entitled to it, just as Redman is entitled to it. That is what it was. It was in their hands. They did nothing because they were not concerned. And now ordinary people are rising up, seizing the opportunities. They have a problem. This is something good for you, and we can't allow ourselves to be distracted. I want to say very quickly, and I can soon wrap up now, because this has been a lovely meeting, you know. This is like a parliament without Douglas and them in it. For without Douglas, the parliament going smooth. Douglas always comes to the parliament late, get the last drink from rum barrel. He come in at 9 where the parliament is going. And when he comes, you see them like a pitiful group. Congressman, I'd have to go show him where he is. And then he has to let people know that he's in the parliament. So then he says something and he gets up not knowing, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker. And the speaker tried to cool him, and he thinks he's Curtis Martin up there. Mr. Speaker, I am entitled to speak. But you speak in turn in the house, not out of turn. Come late, and he want to go back over what done happened. How that? We will never get out the house. You need order and civility in the parliament. None of those he can bring. So we have been working hard in health, in tourism, in agriculture. And we want to see really more people involved in serious agricultural development. And we are prepared as a government to put money where our mouth is. That is why we will establish a fund, which we shall announce in March, of over $1 million in the first instance to help people who want to do serious farming. You got the land? You want it fenced? We will help you. You want to set up a shade house? We will help you. You want to get it harrow? We will help you. At the end of it. And you want some workers? I will throw in some step on that. You couldn't get a better deal anywhere in the world. But we are trendsetters because we appreciate that as a small country, the more we can do for ourselves, the better able we are to safeguard our independence. The more we can produce, the better control we have over our health. Fresh fruits and vegetables. And we will give you full support. And so if there's any farmer in Phillips, in Mansion, in Keon, in Old Road, anywhere who is interested, come talk to between Jean and I tomorrow, and we sign it off by Monday. Sign it off. You get land. Huh? Including the what? Including the at-risk youths. So if you have problems, if you planting the thing, the herb, you're getting yourself in trouble with the law, you know that can't pay. You know that can't pay because the law is the law. And let me tell you, I never smoked that day. I never smoked sensimalia. And not to win votes, I will behave like Cousin Parry and start to talk stupidness that they're going to legalize the old man. Me not talk like a Parry so. For look what happened to Parry now. Parry fly away in the last election in Nevis. Because sensible people in Nevis knew that Uncle Parry I make joke of himself. That Uncle Parry didn't want Nevision to get no visa. For the US will never support it. They might allow it to be legalized in Florida, but they're not going to allow it to be legalized down here. And that is why people up there laugh. I call Parry, you know, but Parry now listen. He tell me Douglas, tell him say it. I say, well, Douglas can't help you. And you say, oh, my word come to pass. Parry up there alone. Alone and lonely. But we'll have another time. I just want to say thank you to the people of number 7. Because you have been wonderfully good to me as your representatives. And there are times when I figure Boy, I do not deserve all of this love. You love me and I love you back. You care for me and I care for you. And I want to thank young, beautiful Tamara for that poem. And when she read it, she thought of me. Come give me a little hug if you need. Thank you very much. That is what we want. Young people, our ordinary daughters, wherever they are in the constituency and elsewhere, making something good of themselves because they made the right choices. In life, there are consequences for choices. And so we want to celebrate the young people who, despite poor, despite the challenges of a broken home, despite the fact that there have been violence, they turn their back on violence and say, my destiny is in my hands. That is the country we are trying to build, where people take a positive stock of their livelihood, where people are committed to build their families, build their communities, build a better St. Kitts and Nevis, where people would say, of all the lands be the east and west, I love this fair land of St. Kitts and Nevis the best. Where people will say it with pride, where people would reject the example of Denzel Douglas, a man with a wicked heart. How dare you explain that after 20 years as head of the country, you're gone to sell out to Dominica? How could you explain that, man? How could you explain the haste with which Denzel Douglas needed to have another diplomatic passport? The same Denzel Douglas who took away Sam Owen at the airport and took away mines at the airport. But me smarter than him, a two passport me had. The ordinary green one and the red one. Sam walk with one. I said, Sam, you careless again. I went all the way to Toronto and my ordinary passport. Sam had he red. Me had a red and a green. So when they tell me, Douglas, to take back the passport, I say, oh, wait, but could I go on this? She said, do you have a visa on that? I said, of course, man. In the red one, I got 5. In the green one, they give me 10. Thank God for Uncle Sam. When a man who have done these things to people could find himself where he's at now, when he passed a whole law, forced Lindsay and Sean up to Barbados to give up without preparation their passport, when he took Jean Hamilton through the court and even appeal, for him to find himself that he went and he begged Skerrit. I call Skerrit, how dare you do that? I said, bite him, and he didn't know how to continue. He said, it did real hard. It did real hard. Because I didn't expect when a man asks you something you really didn't expect. Sometimes you catch you off guard. Catch Skerrit off guard. 5 months ain't gone yet, and he can't even wait. I asked the PS repeated, Mr. Petty, did you get any application from Douglas? Mr. Petty tell me no, he hasn't received any. But Douglas needed this pump that he think he has. He couldn't stand proud with his green passport saying, I am a citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis. That is all I need to know. My allegiance always will be to St. Kitts. And that bad man, after the hurricane, when we are attempting to put St. Kitts and Nevis back together again. Here, Douglas, are you or do something wrong to Dominica. His first country is Dominica. He said it is a computer, make him a Dominican. But his actions shows the truth of Matthew. You would love one and despise the other. Because Denzel knows he can't serve Dominica and St. Kitts and Nevis. When we are talking, for example, about Taiwan, will he be supporting China that Dominica supports? When we are talking about our CBI program, will he continue and have the support of Dr. Jew and Marcella and Lame Duck Conwys to criticize our program and promote that of Dominica? Divided loyalties. A man can't serve two masters. You will love one, despise the other. And for all he has done, he has shown that he despised St. Kitts because we rejected him at the polls. How else would you explain that a former prime minister, after 20 years, make himself a puppet show, parliament in town, and he walking down, talking to himself like a madman with a couple old people coming down the street after him? And hear him on the video. The parliament up there started. I'm coming up here. Up to yet he ain't reach up there. Because he knows he's disqualified to be in the parliament. And making a mockery of the good supporters of once was a great party under him. Why would Douglas? You have to understand, because the new candidates who are coming, they are coming with Douglas, a man who disgraced the country, a man who has hurt our national pride, a man who is divided in his loyalty. How any sensible young person would want to be a candidate with a man like that? If ghosts are run away, will they not understand? If Gilbert is no more, well, they don't understand. If Dr. Wilson is no more, they don't understand. Douglas uses and abuses. That is what would happen. And Marsha, you hear? Marsha was a stalwart. See Marsha there, she a PLP now. Marsha used to go down the islands to register people. And Douglas tell Marsha a big lie. And Marsha now come to know the lie. See Marsha there? Marsha, put up your hand, let people see you. You are a proud citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis. But I'm making, and I'm going to end on this point, because you have to choose loyal servants. We are celebrating now the cruise spear. Would you believe that Douglas' heart is so bitter that Douglas wrote to the Canadian company, said don't have nothing to do with St. Kitts. St. Kitts is the most corrupt place. Douglas was telling them to dishearten them, discouraging them from coming to help us get a cruise spear. And if that wasn't enough, in a letter, Douglas write a stinking paragraph. There's no other way to call it. I am a country boy. I'm not going to use no colorful language. It is a stinking paragraph about Patrice Liebert son told the people of Canada that the young man is engaged in illicit and illegal activity. How dare Douglas Costello? What it is Patrice is doing other than bringing the largest development to our country, man, to create jobs, to help the taxi, to help the tourism. And Douglas put a whole paragraph about Patrice's son. Patrice is a father, but he's not responsible for his adult son. Some children will be good, some will be not so good, but we still have to love them all. Love them all because they're still your son and your children, and nothing you can do but to give them the basis and the greatest of the commandment, love still. They're rude, but love still. They're rude, tell them go out of your house, but love still. That's all we could do as parents. We can't give them the mind. And finally, we have the new 5-star coming. 5-star with the Ritz-Carlton. Would you believe that Douglas going to some of the people on the beach, sending people like Rudy Morton and them to talk to people, telling them don't come off the land. The people signed the lease, knowing that where they were belongs to somebody else. The people ready to sell the land for the Ritz-Carlton. Douglas and them telling them not to come off so that we can get the development, so that the 750 people who will find work during construction can get their work. What manner of man is he? And I gather he has written a letter too. And in that letter, he has another dirty paragraph about Lindsey Grant. When will Dr. Douglas get some pride and remove himself from the vagabondry of his behavior and rise like an elderly statesman willing to lend a helping hand to move our country forward? You have a simple choice. You could either look backwards to what we have rejected on February 16th. We rejected Douglas and his ways, his brutish ways, his crude ways, his ill-disciplined ways, his 10-man-in-one ways. And we chose Team Unity for a better way forward. It has not been perfect, but it will never be. Never be perfect on earth. But we are working hard. And I want to thank a young champion man. People take him simply, Govaya. Govaya is one of my advisor and official. Away, Govaya. See me and the man, stand up if you're there now. Come forward a little bit. Young, ordinary street man. And he would tell me, Tim, don't bother with them. You're going good. You're going good. The country is moving forward. And we need more Govayas. We need more jam downs. We need more people like Marshall and others to say that this Team Unity government is moving forward and we will not give up on unity. We work too hard. Winifred, you work too hard to put this together. When people doubted whether PAM and PLP and CCM could ever work, you believed. You believe. Karen Sadio, you believe. Stand up, Karen, you're nice looking hairdresser. I want you to get some business. Stand up, Karen Sadio. Karen Sadio. Come on, stand up. Give her a round of applause. I know you ain't like the crowd, but you believe. A young man like Enver van Keard, being through adversities, and yet he believed. He believed that through Team Unity, the young people of St. Kitts and Nevis in time would smile again, as I did at Greenlands last night. Smile again, because there are abundant jobs and opportunities. Smile again, because the young can get a chance to go abroad to study and come back. Smile again, because they can find work and earn from honest work in the land of their birth. Smile again, because we are a caring government. Smile again, because we have brought an end to the assault and the reputation of the country by the bygone regime. Thank you for having faith. Thank you, Miss Berry. I know you'd pray for me 3 times a day. If you could double it up, it will even be better. Thank you, Miss Berridge. Smile again. Vixie, you could smile. You're now up at the National Park. Smile again, Vixie. And we could go through and through. Agatha to the far right of whiskey. Got to stand up. She got some sugar walker money. Smile again, she walked with the bell. She wanted me to call the elections tonight, but I can find another day. Thank you, God bless you. I love the people from the bottom of my heart, and I will do all that I can to serve my people with love, with honesty, with honor, justly, and no mercy. God bless you.
Stay up to date with news, programs, and activities of the government with SKNIS. Like us on Facebook. Listen to us on SoundCloud. Follow us on Twitter. And watch our videos on YouTube. Connect with us today. SKNIS, St. Kitts and Nevis Information Service.